Right, so we're going to finish the book today.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 more chapters left, everybody.
We'll finish it today.
Yeah,
Let's go.
and then we'll read the blurb on Friday, or the bit at the
Or I
end.
might just choose a picture book and read that.
Okay, right.
The other children go home. We must go down and take a look at our little friends before we do anything else, said Mr. Walker. He pressed a different button and the lift dropped lower, and soon it was hovering just above the entrance gates to the factory. Look down now. Charlie could see the children and their parents standing in a little group just inside the gate. Can only see 3, he said. Who's missing? I expect it's Mike TV, Mr. Walker said. He'll be coming along soon. Do you see the trucks? Mr. Bunker pointed at a line of gigantic covered vans parked in a line nearby. Yes, Charlie said. What are they for? Don't you remember what it said on the golden tickets? Every child goes home with a lifetime supply of sweets. There's 1 truckload for each of them, loaded to the brim. Aha, Mr. Wonka went on. There goes our friend Augustus Gloop. Do you see him? He's getting into the first truck with his mother and father. You mean he's really all right? Asked Charlie, astonished. Even after going up that awful pipe? He's very much all right, said Mr. Wonka. He's changed, said Grandpa Joe, peering down through the glass wall of the elevator. He used to be fat. Now he's thin as a straw. Of course he's changed, said Mr. Wonka, laughing. He got squeezed in the pipe, don't you remember? And look, there goes Miss Violet Beauregard, the great gum chewer. It seems as though they managed to dejuice her after all. I'm so glad. And how healthy she looks. Much better than before. But she's purple in the face, cried Grandpa Joe. So she is, said Mr. Wonka. Oh well, there's nothing we can do about that. Good gracious, cried Charlie. Look at poor Veruca Sole, and Mr. Sole and Mrs. Sole. They're simply covered with rubbish.
Max, wait!
Just pause it.
Right, go. Sorry.
And here comes Mike TV, said Grandpa Joe. Good heavens, what have they done to him? He's about 10 feet tall and thin as a wire. They've overstretched him on the gum stretching machine, said Mr. Wonka. How very careless. But how dreadful for him, cried Charlie. Nonsense, said Mr. Wonka. He's very lucky. Every basketball team in the country will be trying to get him. But now, he added, it's time we left these 4 silly children. I have something very important to talk to you about, my dear Charlie. Mr. Wonka pressed another button and the lift swung upwards into the sky. Before we go, there's a picture of all those children.
I've just got to get a little closer. Right, there they all are.
Chapter 30. Charlie's Chocolate Factory. The great glass lift was now hovering high over the town. Inside the lift was Mr. Wonka, Grandpa Joe and little Charlie. Oh, I love my chocolate factory, said Mr. Wonka, gazing down, and then he paused, and he turned around and he looked at Charlie with a most serious expression on his face. Do you love it too, Charlie? He asked. Oh, yes, cried Charlie. I think it's the most wonderful place in the whole world. I'm very pleased to hear you say that, said Mr. Wonka, looking more serious than ever. He went on staring at Charlie. Yes, he said, I am very pleased indeed to hear you say that. And now I shall tell you why. And Mr. Wonka cocked his head to one side, and all at once the tiny twinkling wrinkles of a smile appeared round the corners of his eyes, and he said, You see, my dear boy, I have decided to make you a present of the whole place. As soon as you're old enough to run it, the entire factory will become yours. Charlie stared at Mr. Wonka. Grandpa Joe opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. It's quite true, Mr. Wonka said, smiling broadly now. I really am giving it to you. That's all right, isn't it? Giving it to him? Gasped Grandpa Joe. You must be joking. I'm not joking, sir. I'm deadly serious. But, why should you want to give your factory to little Charlie? Listen, Mr. Wonka said, I'm an old man. I'm much older than you think. I can't go on forever. I've got no children of my own, no family at all. So who is going to run the factory when I get too old to do it myself? Someone's got to keep it going, if only for the sake of the Oompa Loompas. Mind you, there are thousands of clever men who would give anything for the chance to come in and take over from me. But I don't want that sort of person. I don't want a grown-up person at all. A grown-up won't listen to me. He won't learn. He will try to do things his own way and not mine. So I have to have a child. I want a good, sensible, loving child, one to whom I can tell all my most precious sweet-making secrets, while I am still alive. But that is why you sent the golden tickets, cried Charlie. Exactly, said Mr. Wonka. I decided to invite 5 children to the factory, and the one I like best, at the end of the day, would be the winner. But Mr. Wonka, stammered Grandpa Joe, do you really and truly mean that you're giving the whole of this enormous factory to little Charlie after all? There's no time for arguments, cried Mr. Wonka. We must go at once and fetch the rest of your family. Charlie's father and his mother and anyone else that's around. They can all live in the factory from now on. They can all help to run it until Charlie's old enough to do it by himself. Where do you live, Charlie? Charlie peered down through the glass floor at the snow-covered houses that lay below. It's over there, he said, pointing. It's the little cottage right on the edge of town, the tiny little one. I see it, cried Mr. Wonka, and he pressed some more buttons and the lift shot down towards Charlie's house. I'm afraid my mother won't come with us, Charlie said sadly. Why ever not? Because you won't leave Grandma Josephine and Grandma Georgina and Grandpa George. But they must come too. They can't, Charlie said. They're very old and they haven't been out of bed for 20 years. Then we'll take the bed along as well. With them in it, said Mr. Wonka. There's plenty of room in this lift for a bed. You couldn't get the bed out of the house, said Grandpa Joe. It won't go through the door. You mustn't despair, cried Mr. Wonka. Nothing is impossible. You watch. The lift was now hovering over the roof of the Bucket's little house. What are you going to do? Cried Charlie. I'm going right on in to fetch them, said Mr. Wonka. How? asked Grandpa Joe. Through the roof, said Mr. Wonka, pressing another button. No, shouted Charlie. Stop, shouted Grandpa Joe. Crash went the lift, right down through the roof of the house into the old people's bedroom. Showers of dust and broken tiles and bits of wood and cockroaches and spiders and bricks and cement went raining down on the 3 old ones who were lying in bed, and each one of them thought that the end of the world was come. Grandma Georgina fainted. Grandma Josephine dropped her false teeth. Grandpa George put his head under the blanket, and Mr. and Mrs. Bucket came rushing in the next room. Save us, cried Grandma Josephine. Calm yourself, my darling wife, said Grandpa Joe, stepping out of the lift. It's only us. Mother, cried Charlie, rushing into Mrs. Bucket's arms. Mother, listen to what's happened. We're going back to live in Mr. Wonka's factory, and we're going to help him to run it. And he's giving it all to me. And... What are you talking about, said Mrs. Bucket. Just look at our house, cried poor Mr. Bucket. It's in ruins. My dear sir, said Mr. Wonka, jumping forward and shaking Mr. Bucket warmly by the hand. I'm so very glad to meet you. You mustn't worry about your house. From now on, you're never going to need it again anyway. Have a look, and this is them coming out of the lift.
Hang on. Okay.
Who is this crazy man? Screamed Grandma Josephine. He could have killed us all. This, said Grandpa Joe, is Mr. Willy Wonka himself. It took quite a time for Grandpa Joe and Charlie to explain to everyone exactly what had happened to them all day. And even then, they all refused to ride to the factory in the lift. I'd rather die in my bed, shouted Grandma Josephine. So would I, said Grandma Georgina. I refuse to go, announced Grandpa George. So Mr. Wonka and Grandpa Joe and Charlie, taking no notice of their screams, simply pushed the bed into the lift. They pushed Mr. and Mrs. Bucket in after it, and then they got in themselves. Mr. Wonka pressed a button, the doors closed, and Grandma Georgina screamed, and the lift rose up off the floor and shot through the hole in the roof and out into the open sky. Charlie climbed onto the bed and tried to calm the 3 old people, who were still petrified with fear. Please don't be frightened, he said. It's quite safe. We're going to the most wonderful place in the world. Charlie's right, said Grandpa Joe. Will there be anything to eat when we get there? Asked Grandma Josephine. I'm starving. The whole family is starving. Anything to eat? Cried Charlie, laughing. Oh, just wait and see. The end.
So that is the end of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but we will be reading another book, or maybe like the little bit about the author today or tomorrow. So make sure to not miss out on tomorrow's book. Bye.